Now let's talk about voter ID. Voter ID is a law passed in 35 states. Some of those states don't require a photo ID. That is known as non-strict. But in others, it is strict. A photo ID is required. All Wisconsin voters must show an acceptable photo ID before voting. This includes voters at polling places and early voting locations. Voters who wish to vote by mail must have a valid photo ID on file, unless the voter is indefinitely confined due to age, illness, disability, or infirmity. The address on your photo ID does not have to be your current address. The name on your photo ID does not need to be an exact match to your name in the poll book. For example, Rob versus Robert or Sue versus Susan. The following forms of ID are acceptable even if they are recently expired, as long as the ID did not expire before the last fall general election. So you can have a Wisconsin driver license, even if driving privileges are revoked or suspended, a Wisconsin ID card issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles, which is available for free, a military ID card issued by a U.S. Uniformed Service, a U.S. passport, an identification card issued by a federally recognized indigenous tribe in Wisconsin, which can be used even if expired, regardless of expiration date. The following IDs are also acceptable but cannot be expired: a Wisconsin driver license receipt or Wisconsin identification card receipt issued by the DMV, valid for 45 days after it is issued, or a certificate of naturalization that was issued not earlier than 2 years before the date of the election. A photo ID card issued by a Wisconsin accredited university or college that contains date of issuance and the signature of student. So if the university or college ID is expired, it must be accompanied by a separate document that provides current enrollment, such as a tuition fee receipt or an enrollment verification letter or a class schedule. A citation or notice of intent to revoke or suspend a Wisconsin driver's license that is dated within 60 days of the date of the election. A state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation issued ID card without a photo, issued to those electors with a religious objection to being photographed. Now, who is on your ballot? Now that you have everything you need to cast your ballot, you need to know which candidates you will be voting for. So we'll go to My Vote Wisconsin website. We'll click the link that reads, "What's on my ballot?" Enter your address, city, and zip code. If there is an election in 21 or less days, a sample ballot will populate showing what is on your ballot. Now you want to learn about your candidates. Now that you know who is on your ballot, you will want to find out what they are about and what the offices they are seeking are responsible for. We will go over this in greater detail at a later session, but here are some basics. There are many websites dedicated to offering nonpartisan information about candidates seeking office from the local to the national level. A couple of these include www.ballotready.org, whose slogan is "Every Candidate and Referendum Explained." Also, we have www.ballotpedia.org, described as a crowdsourced wiki for info around elections. At each website, you can type in the name of a candidate and information on their biography, their election history, and their record will be available to you so that you can make an informed decision about who to vote for. Now, to make sure you're updated your name and address in the voter system, you may end up needing to change your name or address in the Wisconsin voter system. For instance, I moved since the last election, so I have to update my address. So do not worry about this. It can be done in a few easy steps on the My Vote Wisconsin website. Go to the My Vote Wisconsin website and click the link that reads, "Update my name or address." From there, it will ask you to enter your first name, last name, and date of birth in order to find you in the voter file. You want to continue to follow those steps until you have successfully updated your information and received your confirmation. Now, in conclusion, voting in the United States can unfortunately be a very difficult and complicated process. I hope that with the steps outlined in this video, you are able to get some of those questions answered and ensure that you have everything that you need to cast your vote this upcoming election season. We do have a spring primary coming up on Tuesday, February 15th, and we have a spring general on April 5th. That's a Tuesday. These local elections are incredibly important as we will decide, among other things, who will be the next mayor of the city of Milwaukee. Some of your county board representatives will be on the ballot, as well as some judges, amongst others. My call to action for you today is that you make your plan to vote. Make sure you are registered and know who will be on your ballot. Once you've made sure you are registered and created your plan to vote, please visit us at www.youngesociety.com and hashtag the Corridor Creations and tell us about your experience doing so. I hope to see you all at the polls and letting your voices be heard. Remember, you have the power when you have the vote. Thanks for joining.